You talked about technical skills. There's the other one, intelligent, well-spoken, and nice. I don't know about nice, right? All right, can I just request everybody to stand up? Because this is such an amazing event where everybody are from, actually you're from human resources leaders. Can you give yourself a round of applause? And make it louder if you believe you're doing great and you believe that you're moving the people programs within your organization. The louder, it means that you firmly believe that you're that. Thank you so much. So from the crisis of 2020 to the vast opportunities created after the pandemic, and in today's environment, we're actually challenged, right, to gain and maintain the trust of our employees. We leaders of human resources, and I would assume majority here are human resources professionals, we are in the front and center, and the best time to be the catalyst of meaningful change within your organization is today. And you are actually in a very pivotal stage in your career because the time to deliver the human ingenuity is today. So as mentioned by Richard, I'm actually Mitch Mesina. I lead HR services in the Philippines for Accenture. It's about 1,000 people rallying towards delivering human ingenuity for our company. So let's talk about Accenture. Let me introduce to you Accenture. Accenture is a global organization with different capabilities in expertise and technology, managed services, strategy and consulting, and even corporate functions. We're present in 49 countries, around 200 cities across the globe. We have almost or more than 750,000 professionals servicing our more than 9,000 clients. And talk about 49 countries, one of which is in the Philippines. And in the Philippines, we've been operating for more than 35 years. And we have more than 85,000 employees delivering work, delivering services, and even advising clients. So we have about 1,000 clients in the Philippines, servicing from the Philippines. We're present in 20 facilities from Metro Manila, within Metro Manila, Cebu, and Ilocos. For such an organization, very large, very complex, and I would say very diverse, because we do have talents from technology, we have talents from operations, consulting, and corporate function. It's such a feat for us to be certified Great Place to Work since 2022. And in fact, we have been awarded the second best Great Place to Work in the Philippines at the large company category by Great Place to Work in 2023 and 2024. So you would, actually Richard did talk about it. So how do you do it, right? Accenture is good at asking questions, and we always ask questions for us to get better and better. And I'll stay in this side so that you can also learn from this, because my intention is to share best practices and for you also to apply. In fact, things that I will share here is available publicly, and you can actually download, and later on I'll tell you where. Okay, so the question is, what do the workers of today experience? We heard from Carmi about well-being. I will not tell you the waistline, just forgive me about that, it's secret. And then Marie talked about happiness, right? And that's important. And then you have Monica talked about diversity, right? And why is that? Why is it important to even talk about development? Because right now our workers are experiencing tremendous, working, living, surviving unprecedented paradoxes for the past 3 years. So I can tell you that, I think you can relate, that our workers and employees are managing personal obligations, right? And then in the study that we have conducted, 70% of our workers globally have some sense of caregiving responsibility. Would you agree? Yes? And in the Philippines, the 70% doesn't include the pets. Dogs, cats, rabbit, right? It's not included. These are just human beings. But imagine if you add up all of those caregiving responsibilities, it's massive responsibility for you to live, work, and survive. And then out of those 70%, over 8% are actually managing, caring for their kids and their elderly parents. I recently experienced the same, and that's us, right? Now, I've heard about digital transformation. You probably have heard it in your organization. But do you know that based on the study, more and more our employees are feeling disconnected still, despite the digital transformation. 30%, only 30% of our workforce, and let's talk about the study, link between the work and the company's goal. So they're just confused. And I can imagine if you're managing these paradoxes, right, and try to connect your purpose to the organization, only 30% can do that. And 29%, unfortunately, only 29% trust their company leaders. And this study is Net Better Off study, if you can, later I will share with you. And then 1 of the 6 workers feels disconnected to their organization. They're probably just, doing their job, but 1 out of the 6 is actually disconnected. But the other conflicting facts about all of these, they're still expecting, and there is that perception that workers believe that the organization that they're in, they're actually responsible for their own well-being. And here comes wellness program. Here comes the total D&I program. Because after the pandemic, it heightened the need for all of these, right? After the pandemic, moving to this quote-unquote going back to the new normal, it intensified that, hey, my organization should be responsible for my own well-being. And the organization that I should be in should care for me, and I should feel loved. And in Accenture, we launched our talent strategy called Being Loved. It's hinged and actually anchored to the study made on the future of work. But the unfortunate reality, our workers are also feeling that organizations are not changing. Maybe a bit here and there, intensifying certain programs, but not the holistic programs for them to feel that my organization really provides for my whole well-being. So now, unraveling all of this, feeling of our employees or workers, Accenture engaged about 3,000 HR and client experience professionals, together with about 15,000 employees across 15 countries, 15 industries, and 10 countries. They put together a very, we would call it the new model of unlocking human potentials. And some of what has been talked about, our keynote speakers earlier, are actually included in this new model, what we call the Net Better Off. In this study, there are 6 fundamental dimensions of humans that will unlock 64% of the workforce. So the first one is emotional and mental well-being. Is the company supporting me? Is the company helping me address my mental health? The next dimension is relational. How are we building relationship with each other? Am I in an environment where people care for me and have a deep working relationship with one another? The other dimension is the physical. And Carmi talked about the 8 dimension of wellness. And it's so connected to the sixth dimension of unlocking human potentials, because physical well-being, where you have 8 fundamentals, actually connected to this. Purpose. I personally felt this is something that's kind of taboo in the past. Sense of purpose, so, not something that you would talk about before, but people now believe that if I have a sense of purpose, if I'm connected to the sense of purpose, that is one dimension that unlocks human potential. The next one, and the two aspects are connected. Employability. Gone the days that employers would have to just focus on building the skills for today and building the skills for your own organization. The study shows that companies that really invest on employees, skills, to upskill them, not necessarily to keep them, but to make them ready for others, for potential employability. And connected to that is financial. Are we providing the entire total rewards, not necessarily again for today, but in the time of crisis? Are they prepared enough for the future? Going back to what the workers are facing today, they're managing paradoxes. And if they don't have the financial capability, how do you expect someone to perform the job? So much to think about, but this model is actually available. So if there's a question, how do you do it? This is a model that we live by. Accenture talks about even diversity programs is embedded in that. It's called Net Better Off. Now, so Mitch, how do you do that in Accenture? In Accenture, we have what we call the key 4 actions we do to create that high-touch employee experiences to again anchor to the Net Better Off model. The first one is still modern leadership. I remember when Brene Brown, the very popular speaker, popularized the term safe environment and vulnerability. Who knew that after the pandemic, that her model of vulnerability and safe space became like a model on stealing a dynamic leadership? The next one is a thriving culture. Do you think that your organization today is harnessing a thriving culture? Do you think that in conversations with employees, you create that safe space on becoming me, my authentic self? Going back to diversity conversation, that is all about bringing that culture together of diversity, equality, and authenticity. And the next one is enabling the organization to be more agile. Let's define why people would have to go to the office. Can you raise your hand if you required your employees more than once a week to go to the office? I can see a show of hand, a few. Can you raise your hand if you kept it hybrid? Awesome. Isn't that exciting to really define what it means to go to the office? It's about time to think about how you invite people to go to the office and say this is the best way to have them. And at the same time, create that flexibility framework. How do you interact? How do you address employee inquiries? How do you talk to employees who have concerns? And this is massive for a size of 85,000 employees in Accenture. It's easy to manage, easier, I would say, to manage potentially 10,000, 12,000. But imagine, how do you address inquiries and requests of people going through the life cycle of their employment in a company if you don't have an approach and don't have the framework? Last but not the least, let's use the technology, right? Establish a robust technology. This is about time, and Accenture is so passionate about digital core. Put the system in the cloud, because that's the only way that we can empower our employees to do higher tier work. So speaking of, thriving culture, confession to make, Accenture used to be very process-based transaction with our employees. You have a file, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a maternity leave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 process. The interaction is so process-driven that everybody is so like, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I missed number 6. I will go back to 1, right? Now we have changed the model. We have changed from process-led to experience-led, moment by moment. Employees, how we deal with someone experiencing loss is different. The interaction with employees having a celebration, a transition in their career is very much different when how we deal with someone managing a very difficult times. And we call it experience-led model. So how about creating a more connected, not necessarily all the time in the office, we call it the omni-channel connectedness. We decided as an organization to move closer to our employees. We have launched our satellite offices, recognizing that not everybody can go to commute. I travel from south area of the Philippines. It takes 2 to 3 hours to get to the site. Imagine the convenience of our employees to just go nearby. Satellite office work, internet, air condition, with a nice office, and they don't need to worry about their internet pay, their bills, and electricity. So we became, deliberate about our approach on omni-channel connectedness. We have already, I think, 5 satellite offices. We have 1 in Santa Rosa, Cavite, Batangas. Batangas is up and coming, but we have Bulacan, then we have in Cebu as well. Remember we had the Karina typhoon. And if we don't have the satellite offices, our employees wouldn't have an opportunity to work. But this time they have a choice. They can go to the satellite office and perform the job because it's nearby their places. I interviewed someone in Cebu, and in Cebu, the satellite office is in Mactan. And I said, how often do you go to the office? Like, almost every day po. Why? Kasi po ang mahal ng electric bill. Dito po aircon. So amazing, it's a simple change on the way we work, but that has been amazing opportunity for employees to change the work environment that they have. And we are currently revisiting our satellite offices strategy, if we will expand or we will keep. So, two slides. We are not perfect, we still have so much to do. But one thing that Accenture does very, very well is to listen to our employees. We have multiple listening tools, but I'm just showing you 3. We have the team engagement, the Gallup Q12. That's more, frequent. If you have a team issue or you just want to get the pulse, go to Q12. Everybody has access to it. And then for the culture, this is also the reason why we're also very much focused on the certification, because it's not for us just an accolade, it's for us a way of life. We want to understand our culture, we want to understand if our employees feel the culture. And knowing Accenture, we move forward with many transformation, but another listening tool is our, what we call the Enterprise Transformation Survey, to understand whether our employees believe in the transformation. And to protect as well the behavior, we have the Conduct Count Survey. And yes, our employees are getting tired of survey, but this is actually part of our listening tools to determine whether are we doing the right thing. Diversity, change of how we look at talent has been part of our focus area. To achieve a net better off organization, we have to start revisiting who are we hiring for? Who are the talent, aside from the usual talent? So let me, play this video for you. to reflect our diversity as well.
Simula pa lang, things never looked that bright. Kaya na-master ko ang mabuhay sa dilim. Pati ang mga tao sa paligid ko, nasanay na rin.
Kuya, iwan ka na lang namin dito ah. Hindi ka namin pwedeng sama eh.
O anak, aalis muna kami. Dito ka lang muna ha.
Pero kahit gaano pala kahaba ang gabi, sigurado, sisilip rin ang araw.
K space O F space A T H S A U G S T dot R E G A R D S comma A
At ang ilaw na tumanglaw sa akin
R. All my reports this week may be found in folder.
ay itataas ko. Baka masinagan din ng iba.
In Accenture, we believe that we have to start looking at talents differently. Whether whatever capacities you have to do a meaningful job. Similar to what you have seen, we do have also programmers who are blind. Generative AI programmer. How he does it? Amazing. I've seen it in action. So I started a while ago and say we're front and center of many transformation in our own organization. And I want to start, in the time to create a more human organization is now. As you attended today, I would leave you one question. Is the world a better place because your company is in it? Thank you so much.